seats, please arrange your chairs first and pick up those pieces of papers on the ground. Okay, please settle down, class. So, how was your weekend? Perfect. So it means that you are all done with your assignments, right? Good. So before we start, are there any absent today? Okay, so everyone is present. Good job, everyone. So now, before we proceed to our main topic, who among you here can recall our topic yesterday? Anyone? Yes. Alright, last meeting, we talked about the American Romanticism. What else? Okay, we have tackled the prominent romantic writers, which includes who? Herman Melville, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Washington Irving, and a lot more. Okay, very good. So now, we are going to focus on Washington Irving, and we will talk about one of his great works, which is titled The Devil and Tom Walker. So, by the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify the characters and events of the story and demonstrate an understanding of one of Washington Irving's literary pieces. Alright, so let's start. So, I posted a material on our Google Classroom, right? Have you checked it? Have you read the material that I posted on our Google Classroom? Okay, some of you haven't read the story yet. Don't worry, we will discuss it later. So, Washington Irving was one of the most famous American authors of the 19th century. He has been called the father of the American short story because of his early and unique contributions to the form. So, he achieved international fame for the fictional stories Rip Van Winkle and Legend of Sleepy Hollow. On the other hand, the story of The Devil and Tom Walker is based on folklore and stories that Irving was aware with, although the original source of the story is unknown. According to some experts, Irving just repeated a traditional tale as he heard it. On the other hand, others claims that Irving took from a wide range of sources in order to develop his story by expertly combining various plot ideas. So now I will show you a picture that has something to do about the story that we will discuss afterwards. So if you read the story, you will easily analyze the picture. So here it is. Okay, so what did you observe from the picture? Yes? Okay, the man is running away from the devil. So what else? Alright, the man is being punished by a devil. Very good. So I will present here a video for those who haven't read the material, and I will explain it afterwards. So please watch it silently, and I want you to take notes about the characters and other details from the story. Okay, here it is.
The Devil and Tom Walker. Written by Washington Irving. Told to you by Edward E. French. A few miles from Boston, in Massachusetts, there is a deep inlet winding several miles into the interior of the country from Charles Bay and terminating in a thickly wooded swamp or morass. On one side of this inlet is a beautiful dark grove. On the opposite side, the land rises abruptly from the water's edge into a high ridge, on which grow a few scattered oaks of great age and immense size.
Okay, before we begin our story, let us go back 300 years ago to the late 1600s. In those years, one of the famous men in the world was Captain William Kidd. So, Captain Kidd was a pirate. He sailed the seas, capturing any ships he found. And he and his men took money from these ships and hid this money in different places. Unluckily, Captain Kidd was captured by the English in Boston, Massachusetts, and executed in year 1701. From that time on, people all over the world searched in many places for Captain Kidd's stolen money. The people who lived in Massachusetts in 1700s believed that Captain Kidd buried some of the treasure near Boston. Not far from Boston was a small river which ran into the Atlantic Ocean. An old story said that Captain Kidd had come up this river from the ocean, then he buried the gold and the silver and jewels under a big tree. So the story said that this treasure was protected by the devil himself, who was a good friend of Captain Kidd. In the year 1727, a man named Tom Walker lived near this place. Tom Walker, which is the story's main character, is a miser, which means he rarely spends money even when he should. He doesn't give anything to anyone, and that includes his wife. Tom's wife is as miserly as he is, but with a temper. The story explains that she is regularly verbally abusive, and the townspeople suspect that she is even physically abusive towards Tom. Old Scratch has given several names in the story, including Wild Huntsman and Black Woodsman. He is the devil, described as a black man. He has a dirty, stuff-covered face and carries an axe. So even though he is a devil, he is a physical character in the story, like a person with supernatural powers. So Irving begins with a short explanation where he moves on to the heart of the story and introduces us to Tom and his wife, explaining that they are miserly and mean. So one day, when walking home, Tom decides to take a shortcut home through the swamp. So he sits down on a log to rest and is confronted by a soot-faced man who is identified as Old Scratch. So Old Scratch is the devil, and he offers Tom large sums of money in exchange for certain conditions. What do you think those conditions are? Anyway, Tom goes home to discuss the offer with his wife, and she believes he should take the offer. Now, since he doesn't much like his wife and certainly doesn't want to share any wealth with her, he is hesitant to take the deal. His wife in turn becomes angry and decides to go see Old Scratch herself. However, after a couple of days, she did not return, so Tom goes looking for her. After searching through the woods, all he finds is her heart and her liver tied in her apron, and he knows that she is dead already, and he's rather happy with that. This leaves him free to make his deal with the devil without having to share anything. So, after a conversation where Tom agrees to be a corrupt usurer, which is someone who lends money, he leaves the Boston where he lives a life of wealth and corruption. After some years though, Tom starts to worry about the potential punishment for his acts and tries to go to church to seek salvation. He carries a Bible everywhere he goes in hopes of warding off Old Scratch. This of course did not work when one morning, with his Bible under a stack of mortgages, Tom opens the door to find a black horse and a black man who says, "Tom, you're come for." Tom is thrown upon the horse and swiftly taken back to the old Indian fort and gone in a blaze of fire. Now we are done with the story. I am going to ask you some questions about it. So first, who is the author of the story? which is the Devil and Tom Walker. All right. The author of the story, The Devil and Tom Walker, is Washington Irving. Who are the characters in the story? Okay, very good. We have Tom Walker, the main character, his wife, and the old Scratch, which is the devil. What do you think the devil tried to deal with Tom after his wife died? Anyone? Yes? Okay. Did Tom agree? Correct. The two agreed. Tom and the devil, they agreed on the deal where Tom would work as a usurer, which is someone who lends money in order to drive merchants and bankruptcy, and ultimately the devil. So, what did you learn from the story? Anyone? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Very good. So, it seems like you really understand the story. Now for your activity, I want you to group yourselves into 4 with 6 members each. I will assign you to make an online role-playing about Washington Irving's short story, which is The Devil and Tom Walker, wherein you will demonstrate your understanding of the story. Okay? The deadline is next week, and we will watch everyone's output during our synchronous session, okay, next week. I also recommend you to download the Kahoot mobile app later, and I will send the link in our group chat for the quiz. Do you have any questions? None? Okay, if that's so, that is all for today. We will continue our lesson tomorrow. Have a great day. Goodbye, class.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our synchronous session. I am teacher Eloisa, and since teacher Isel is running an errands today, I will be here to be your literature teacher for this session. Okay, is that good? Are we cool?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Please excuse me if I can show myself right now since I am having a trouble with my device and I am only able to show my screen. So discuss this lesson very well. So again, to start this lesson, let's bow our head for a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, so what have you learned about yesterday's topic? Teacher Hazel told me that you have a great discussion. Who remember the topic? Anyone?
Yesterday we talked about the author of The Devil and Walker.
Okay, very good. That's great. So you learned about the devil and Tom Walker. So I prepared an activity here. So this activity is from Kahoot. I want you to comment your answer and I will check it after this session. Okay, so now let's start to practice this. Okay, so also aside from commenting, I want you to state your answer. What do you think is the answer? True or false? The answer is true. So let's just practice ourselves, huh? So next is here's the answer. True or false? Okay. Message box. Yes. So we will see your answer, huh? So next is what do you think? Comment your answer.
True.
Very good. Next is true or false. What
False.
I think it's a false. So now, after this activity, I want you to prepare yourself from the information that I'm going to share with you guys. So later, I will be sending a Kahoot link about our assessment. Okay, so just like what we did. So now, here as a grade 10 student, so we're going to tackle the continuation of The Devil and Tom Walker by Washington Irving. So, do you have activity at everyone? So after this lesson, I am expecting you to first identify the difference between folk tales, myths, and legends. And second, I am expecting you to recognize the relation of folk tales in Washington Irving's story entitled The Devil and Tom Walker. Okay? So now, um, let us all first define folktale. So folktale is a legend or originating and traditional among people of folk, especially one form part or tradition of the common people. Okay, so in in explaining this, it is any belief or a story passed on traditionally and considered to be false or based on a superstition. So in your discussion, right, the teacher is, you have learned that it is about The Devil and Tom Walker is an 1824 piece by Washington Irving. Also, um, it follows a story of Tom Walker. It is a greedy man who meets the devil and exchanges his soul for material riches. In the end, Tom's soul is taken and all his possessions are burned, a symbolic reminder of eternal damnation due to insatiable greed. The next is the story is categorized as a story contemporary culture motif. The theme greed, corruption, and mystery. Incorporated is a dark humorous irony in this passage that normally nobody would willingly wish to sell her soul to the devil, right? And the only reason Tom does not go through with the deal is simply to spite his wife rather than any concern for his own welfare. So Washington Irving uses a satire to ironically criticize the institution of marriage, which can be seen with Tom's relation and condition with his wife. We have a question here. Does the story of Tom Walker and the Devil, I'm so sorry, does the story The Devil and Tom Walker is a folk tale or not? And how is it associated? Any guess? What do you think? Is it a yes or a no? Hello, everyone.
No.
The answer is you're correct. The Devil and Tom Walker is not a folktale because why? Why do you think? Okay, so that's it. The Devil and Tom Walker is not a folktale because it is set in a definitive time and place and the author is known. And it is mainly circulated through written copies. But Irving's story takes on the symbolic quality of folklore or fairy tale in creating a frame of story in which a skeptical narrator relays the story. Irving is able to captivate the multiple audiences. First is those who believe in myth, and second are those who love to those who believe in myth. The story rural, old American setting allows it to press back against capitalism and consumerism, which were becoming dominant in American society at that time. In this way, it is simultaneously nostalgic and timeless. Okay, so any question? So to
None.
be clear that okay, very good. To be clear, The Devil and Tom Walker is not a folktale because it is definitive. The time and place are given, and also the author is known. And now we have here the assessment. It is a quiz, a 10-item quiz. I will send the link later in our GC. It will be conducting through Kahoot, like what we did before this session, and also a performance task. So in this performance task, um, from the given set of folktale story, choose one and incorporate it in writing your own short story. So I will be giving you a list of a short story, and I want you to be, I want you to choose one and serve as a sample of your story. Okay? So it's like creating your own version. Are we all clear?
Yes po.
Okay, so thank you for this great session. Do you have any question or clarification?
None.
Okay, good. If none, let's call it a day. Bye and take care, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Have a great day.